Afternoon, good evening, everyone. So, how many of you are here this time?
38 from our group.
Okay, I see. So, how long will be the journey?
They just arrived today.
Okay.
And we will be 2 weeks in Bhutan and Nepal.
Okay, 2 weeks. Okay. I think I take it that by now most of you have already. This is maybe the second or third time already. Yes.
For some of us.
Yes. Well, it's very good. I'm glad that we could have this time to meet, and I'm very happy to hear that all of you are taking this pilgrimage. I wish the very best for your journey. I personally think that pilgrimages, I think, an important part of a practitioner's life. Of course, in general, in life, it's very good because we get to explore. We get to explore history. We get to explore how things have been in the past and so on. So I think it's very good. But particularly for practitioners, we constantly need inspirations. Through these inspirations, then we can, how to say, somehow there's, it brings much more meaning in one's practitioner's life, and then being on the side of very sacred places. Although, of course, it is just, let's say, by now, over the course of time, things have changed. Might not be used to how it was in those days. But nevertheless, I think when we recall the history, then we can remember what kind of life they have lived, what kind of challenges they have gone through. Much like, the challenges that we face in this life, but sacred because they have somehow found a way to, not to say completely overcome, but then to somehow use the challenges, or could say mold the challenges into one's own benefit for a good cause, and finally to accept it. And I think that's what makes their lives very special and interesting. So that's why I'm very, very glad that you are all once again on this journey. And for some of you are taking this journey for the first time. So I wish all of you a very, very good and interesting and good, good journey. Yeah. Probably better than actually taking vacations in a way, because often with the vacations, often what happens is that when you actually do reach the destination, one is left quite disappointed, So instead, such as taking a journey, I think from the very beginning of the preparation, from the first day until the last day, it's something that, how to say, it's always changing. It's always something new is coming up, and left to every day you experience something new, something different. Within a day or within an hour, things always change, and I think those experiences are very, very, necessary and very beneficial. Particularly, it's a different of environment. Yes, it's a different environment, difference of culture, difference of everything: food, language, climate, attitude, scenery, everything. So you absorb many things. Sometimes one is maybe certain small details are maybe not so interesting, but nevertheless, I think those will also will be of great benefits in the long run. I think it makes one's life that much more, not to say colorful, but just more interesting. So yeah. So of course, always, since we meet not that often, if you have any questions, you're most welcome. On pilgrimage?
Yes, I can start.
Okay.
How can we participate to a Karmapa activity as an ordinary person?
Yes. As I said, I think, let's say, in this case, 2 weeks of journey maybe, or maybe the course that you're taking here, let's say, whatever the course of the length of the days, or weeks, or months. As I was just saying, right, in this topic alone, we gain a lot of memories, visual memories, what is it for sound? Well, not vocal. Sorry?
Audible?
Audible? No, not exactly. Sorry? Well, I'm basically saying memories of sight and sound, but I forget the term. It's and then of course the mental experiences. I think all of this will come to would somehow help us to have a very comprehensive experience of life, I think. And that would, for the long run, will dedicate for supporting, we could say, Dharma activity, yes, or the benefit of sentient beings, or for world peace. Same thing, Gaining those experiences, I think it's very, very essential, I think. Yeah. Of course, all of us will take different journeys. All of us will will also experiment with different ways. But so therefore, it doesn't mean that all of us have to take the same, have to do the same thing, of course, and repeatedly. But what I'm trying to say is that each of us will take journey in general, yes, and individual journeys are different from one another, but there are similarities. And what it does is that through these continuous experiences and journeys, it helps us to stimulate the mind. The mind needs certain kind of stimulations, I would say. I think that's accepted by many, I think, yes. Philosophers, thinkers, scientists, doctors, and I think there is great truth in it, yes, that the mind needs constant, because the nature of the mind is such that it has to somehow always explore, absorb as many information as possible. So I think, such as now in this case, practicing, taking a pilgrimage, let's say, I think it helps us to enhance all of, enhance the, not enhance, but somehow it supports the nature of the mind, I would say.
Because in fact there is sometimes a contradiction in the way you explain it. It's somehow to develop ourselves, the mind. And then when we say Karmapa activity, we see Karmapa, we see the person, and then it's like sometimes we don't know if we have to do something in particular, you know, with you, to you. I mean, it's always this duality of one person to one person, and in fact the way you explain it's more like to become a better human being.
That's right.
In the world.
I think I would say I think that's it, you know, fulfilling that very responsibility to be a beneficial being. I think that serves it.
That's the activity of Karmapa.
Yes, that is.
So it's similar to the activity of a bodhisattva somehow.
Sure, yes, I would say that. Because what the Buddha Dharma suggests is definitely nothing more than that, you know. Nothing extraordinary, but to be a decent human being. And the way to do that is to, I think, gain experiences. And the only way to do it is to somehow fulfill the nature of the mind, let's say. Well, maybe now I'm becoming too, maybe those are too unclear and abstract, but what I'm saying is that the knowledge, the information that we absorb could be something very, very, as they say, mundane, or it could be something very, very simple. That's it. From learning how to make a tea, let's say, you know, a cup of tea, yeah, or a pot of tea. Learning that will go a long way, yeah.
And what about the duality between the disciple and the guru? Like the duality of thinking that you have to be next to him and do something to him.
Yes.
All those things that we, you know.
I think it's not so important.
But what does it happen? You know, like in the Sangha,
Yeah.
you know, we kind of go through those things between people, like,
Yes.
and then it gets a little confusing.
Right. How?
Like, well, I'm going to do this for Karmapa, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be, I don't know, I'm going to be special, and, you know, and then between us, sometimes we get upset, and things like that. Those things happen. And then you just don't know what to do anymore. It's like, what to do, you know? Well, I'm tired of this, I'm leaving. You know, because it's too much.
Right.
Excitement.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Normally, when hindrances happens on a pilgrimage, it's a good sign when people get sick. But this year in Bulgaria, in December, 90% of our group got sick, and from a state of organizing it, I feel a little bit unsecured about that. What do you think? Is it a sign of good development, or?
So,
How should we take it?
I think it's a wonderful attitude. Yeah. Yeah, I think there are, of course, what we are in a spiritual path, it has its own sort of, what do you call it? Not in a negative way, but superstitions, you know. Maybe certain signs, certain yes, signs that could you know, that could point to either something positive or negative, all of that. Yes, they are there, but I think, you know, no matter where we are, when there's small obstacles or big obstacles, when they occur, you know, that is it. It is as simple as that. If there are obstacles, yes, but nothing the sort of, how to say, whether it's maybe a sign of maybe low battery, or maybe a sign of certain, you know, negative signs. No, I don't think so. So yes, I think the way you put it, I think is the best. You know, to see it as a development, to see it as finally making, you know, certain steps forward. You know, that's good. Yeah.
I have the next question to development. And all students like so much development as possible in short time.
Mm-hmm.
And in the history I read, so the meditate is the biggest development way. And what is the way for us to better development? Do study or then study or meditate or make the job or the sangha helping also? So is this difficult? What is
what is more important?
Yeah,
right. I think a balance of all three. Yeah. Probably as a step, maybe studying. Maybe it's probably one of the first steps. Maybe, but it's very general. You know, for the individual, it's quite different. Yeah. Some might start with the practices or meditation from the beginning. Some might be some might start with intellectual, you know, side of things, and some with just direct support of one's time and, you know, physical energy and so on. So there is no really way of saying which is the best or which is more important. I think all of them would be all of them are equally important. Probably the challenge is knowing sort of how to balance all that, maybe. Yeah. So the thing is, they're all the same. The benefit will be all the same, because one focusing on one aspect of things naturally will lead oneself to the other two. Yeah. From whichever of the three we start at the beginning. So yeah.
But when it's possible, all things to do, but the day is maybe 24 hours, so I can do maybe 10 hours meditate or 10 hours study or 10 hours something. So this is, and in the history, the most enlightenment is the meditate.
Right.
So now in this century, what it is for us, or the best way?
Probably, I think, maybe if you look into the past centuries, of course, things were a little bit different from the present century, let's say. But not that much of a difference, you know. Yeah. Challenges will always be challenges, whether we think of individuals who lived maybe thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, or ourselves, or the future, you know, individuals who let's say maybe after 500 or hundreds of thousands of years later. I think challenge is always a challenge, yeah. And the causality of its, let's say, of each of the challenges, and also how to overcome it, the means, it will always be more or less the same. Yeah. Yes, probably certain details are maybe a little bit different, you know. Parents will always be parents, and children will, well, in that aspect, will always be the, you know, children. And again, of course, within a system of that cause and conditions, of course, again things change, yes. But no, I think it's the same. Now, having said all that, the practice suggests, practice meaning the Buddha Dharma, suggests for us to seek for enlightenment, seek for everyone's liberation, let's say. Yes, it's true. That is the case, and there are you know, paths and practices and methods are also suggested in the same way, meaning in the same order, meaning that such as particular methods will quicken the pace of one's enlightenment, liberation, and so on. And it's not wrong, you know, but I don't think it really means that, how to say, that we have to give up, or we have to somehow dedicate the time completely in, how do I put it? Maybe I think the best is to go about it quite generally, so that all of us can relate. What I'm trying to say is that yes, in the past there have been many practitioners, realized beings, or we call them great beings, or now we call it such as Mahasiddha and so on. Yes, they definitely impress us. They definitely inspire us. It takes us to whenever we think of their life stories, it takes us to a very different place. To a point that sometimes it helps us to somehow relax our mind from everyday challenges. Yes. At the same time, such history or facts or stories also makes us, you know, feel quite distant. It makes us feel. It has, what I'm trying to say says that it has the ability also to make us feel somehow, oh, this is probably not something that I can do. You know, this is too much. Yeah. And also then looking at one's own, which is becoming, of course, very hectic and well, packed every day, more and more, yes. And it seems like as if, such as the life stories of Mahasiddhas or great beings, that some of their lifestyles are very different from the way a society would function, or the way they would think, or what they would behave or act, and to the point that we call them crazy, yes, and weird and strange. And but at the same time, it says that they have reached certain realizations and so on. Of course, it's not wrong, but I think that refers to a particular time and a frame, that once each individual, goes through great experiences. But when we try to begin on a path, I think it's very important that we sort of somehow practice in a way that that is doable for oneself and others, that one can manage. So meaning that each individuals, we have very different time settings, we have very different conditions, and accordingly I think we have to practice, I think. Doesn't mean that Milarepa spend his lifetime in wilderness, and so we have to for ourselves following that path, that we have to do the same. Yes, we can achieve the same, but we have to do it sort of harmoniously for oneself and for others, meaning accordingly. Yeah. Otherwise, it has the potential to bring risk for oneself and others. Risk in a way that, have a big pile of challenges that one cannot overcome. Yeah. So one has to divide the time, I think, accordingly. So we have to assess our time as individuals, of how much time we can dedicate for daily life, practice, a practitioner's life, meaning how much time we can have to learn and meditate, and then to support, in this case, the activity, let's say. Yeah. Now the message that I'm trying to get across is that each and every of those great realized beings, no matter how extraordinary their lives may look like for us or to us, I think what they were doing was actually they were living a very, very sort of simple life, I would say, as simple as possible. Meaning, no matter the livelihood or the circumstances that they were in, their mindset, where the state of their mind, where they were placing their mind, is a place or a state where it's very, very, as I would say, very decent. That's it. Didn't have the intention to do something miraculous, or to do something extraordinary, or to defy anything, but living very, very honestly to one's honestly towards the truth, one could say, or towards the nature of the mind. Yes, and that's it. Yeah, and then when you base, I think, or when they, base their mind in such a manner, in such a way, what they develop is, or what they sort of realize, I think, is that they understand that they cannot do without compassion, that they cannot do without wisdom, that they cannot do without patience and ethics and so on, everything, Yeah. they naturally realize that. And then so they live by those. So I think that's the thing that we have to somehow relate and absorb, I think.